Interior designer and developer Stephen Pellerade is well known for his Superhomes. So when he got the brief to create a multi-level palace in Jozi, he immediately took on the challenge and pulled it off with aplomb.
Given the name Gatsby after the F. Scott Fitzgerald novel, this mansion is like a private hotel, catering for both intimate family gatherings and functions on a royal scale.
Gatsby was known as an eccentric billionaire and he had a home to suit. I do think I have now found the South African equivalent.
Hi, Roxy.
Hello, Stephen. I don't think I have ever experienced such a grand entrance on top billing. This is phenomenal. What exactly was your brief?
Gosh, the brief was amazing, and it was meant to be an international home for a young family. So they wanted something timeless. They wanted a Palladian villa with some really modern, quirky aspects, and this is what we got.
I do get a little bit of a French inspiration when I walk into the room. What are some of the design elements that you've brought into it to bring the theme to life?
I think the very first thing is that we sourced this door, this amazing 4-meter door from a palace in Buenos Aires. So that was great, and that was from very much a French-inspired palace. So that gave us quite a nice brief to wash through. You'll start to see a lot of the moldings, the crown moldings, a lot of them were brought in from England, and we used local artisans to install them and actually make good, and you'll see that throughout. There's domes, gilded domes, chandeliers, quite relevant today. It's not fussy and old. It's got quite a nice young twist if you start to look at some of the elements.
The art collection combines old masters with cubist works and draws on a broad range of influences. They bring human interest to this vast entrance. Stephen travelled the world in search of the ideal fittings for each space, sourcing modern furniture and combining it with period pieces and antiques.
How do you even begin to source decor for a house of this magnitude?
Firstly, it's wonderful when you have an international client because you can source them all over the world, which is what we did. What was particularly good in this project was the brief was as many local artists as possible had to be brought into here. So this is the only home in the country that I know has an entire bronze collection of the Royal African Zulu house.
Depicting figures from King Shaka Zulu to Princess Nandi, this is one of only 2 complete collections in the world.
Were you aiming for a particular color palette?
With a house of this size, I wanted to stick to a fairly neutral palette because there's so many different rooms, and if you bring in specific colors to every different room, you have it's a mess. It's not worth it. But what was nice here is that I kept this neutral theme permeating through most rooms, but you'll find in a number of the rooms I brought in certain color palettes. You'll get certain golds, for argument's sake, in the formal dining room. In the library, we brought in chocolate browns and rich blues. So they're accents that are brought in on quite a sort of an organically neutral palette. What is really particularly nice, and I want you to have a look at the ceiling detail here. Remember, this house is brand new. And the molding here is a classic French piece, just very delicately put, but it looks like it's been here for hundreds of years.
The palatial sunroom stands 2 stories high with an indoor pool and is protected from the wind up on the ridge by being entirely surrounded with glass.
I mean, this is on the highest point in Houghton Ridge, and look at this incredible view at this time of the year with all the jacarandas. How beautiful are they?
The jacarandas in full bloom. It's spectacular. Open plan. I can imagine the parties that are going to happen here.
Absolutely. The brief was to be able to accommodate 4 or 5 people intimately, so we have these breakaway areas, otherwise a function for 200-300 people, and I think we've achieved that.
Definitely. I've noticed that there are black accents throughout the grand room.
Absolutely, and I think what we've done is we've used that to thread this whole grand room together, because it is quite vast. We sit with formal areas on one side of the indoor pool, right through to a bar area, a ladies' bar area on the other side. So bring in nice black accents, because it keeps a large space a lot more proper. So you have not just black piping, you have lovely black accents in the back of chairs. You bring in black fabrics in various places.
Well, Stephen, the next time there's a party here, I'm going to be bringing my flapper dress and feather boa.
Chandeliers were sourced from France, Italy, Germany, and even the kitchen boasts one.
Remember, Roxy, this is what they call a show kitchen.
What exactly do you mean by show kitchen?
Well, it's quite different to a working kitchen. A working kitchen is back end, and that's where most of your food preparation is. But it's brought through to the show kitchen, because the way people live today, particularly at high end, is it's interactive. So they will have their guests here very elegantly looking at the food that, well, has been prepared. And it's got to blend in with the rest of the house. It's not a proper working kitchen. That's behind.
I think I need myself a show kitchen so that I don't have to cook.
The family asked that their Johannesburg home and every space in it be able to hold its own on an international stage. And Stephen obliged. Up this broad marble staircase, even the balustrade tops are finished in solid marble from Turkey. Once upstairs, the 8 suites are generous.
Oh wow, Stephen, now this is palatial. It feels as if we've stepped straight out of the south of France into a chateau.
And that you have done. Can you believe that the master suite is just short of 200 square meters? And that's the size of houses.
This is quite a large, expansive room, but you've still managed to keep it intimate and cozy.
Well, that's the trick, because if you think we have 200 square meters of main bedroom, so the idea was to demarcate the living area of the main bedroom, which is a separate lounge, from the sleeping area, but they're one and the same still. And we've managed to do this with this large marble piece that houses the gas fireplace. Interesting, with TV sets on both sides.
Even though we have continued the French theme in the main bedroom, I have noticed that there's some Asian elements throughout.
Again, the families' associations around the world, they have offices in the East, and there's quite a lovely spiritual dynamic which has infiltrated our design work here. And I don't know if you've noticed, everything seems to float and it's quite quiet in this house. And I think we've picked that up from a lot of the pieces in the East. It really is quite a spiritual home.
Stephen has made a feature of every space, turning this narrow area into a Roman-style contemplation garden.
Adjacent to the bedrooms, we have the family spa, which has the steam room and massage rooms and beautiful outdoor areas, very, very zen, and I think well needed for this family.
The bathroom keeps with a scale of the master suite, and you could probably film a scene from Singing in the Rain in the shower. The garden is based on the Peterhof Palace in Russia, with formal terraces to maximize the views. It took 3 years and 2 engineers to realize landscaper Jean-Baxter Keating's vision.
What style were you aiming for when you designed these gardens?
Well, the gardens were designed around the architecture, which is a beautiful, formal, classic French-styled home. And hence bringing in the terraced levels, the hedging, the sculptural conifers, water features. We traveled literally to Europe, South America to find the pieces we have that have been used in this landscape.
Stephen, you've used sculpture both inside and outside the house. How have you used them differently?
Very similarly, I'm mixing classical with some contemporary. Outside, obviously, a lot more classical. We've got a lot of Italian statues, and you'll find we've also mixed Art Deco bronzes, inside and outside.
Jean, the greenery is beautiful, the hedges, the grass, but there are also pops of color.
Most definitely. We've brought in focal points. We have brought roses. We have brought geraniums in the pots. We've tried to kind of stick true to form for this feel of garden.
While classical taste is a hallmark of this family, there's one room that tells of their fun side.
Wow, Stephen, when I arrived at this home, I did not expect to find hot pink in the nightclub.
Absolutely, and I think we achieved it. You're in the Buddha Bar in Paris, and we've mixed Barbie pink with lipstick red and chocolate brown. So welcome, please have a drink.
Thank you so much. What were you trying to achieve when you put this room together? Because it really is drastically different to the rest of the house.
This is the party venue in the house. We wanted a very young, hip nightclub feel here that you felt completely sexy, not at all formal like the rest of the house. And I think we achieved it.
I think it's phenomenal, gents. I say cheers to a good night out, and how about a sneaky game of snooker?
You're on. You're on.
This is a home for the bold, masterfully created by 2 South African talents.
How gorgeous are those gardens? Stephen's creation is both a home and a timeless piece of art.